Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this podcast is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Brant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction, and we back, episode 9?
Yeah.
Season 5.
Yep.
Trying to thrive and stay alive on this bitch.
Yep.
The heat is here. But anyway,
It is.
I'm Justin Hammonds, looking at my boy Drew Shellnut.
What?
And my boy Grant Bramlett.
Hello.
And the heat is all the way live. I hope y'all are safe and hydrated out there in the world. Shit is real.
Yeah. So first of all, please ignore the sound floor, if you will,
The barky
as an
doggies?
engineer would say. No, that's definitely not sound floor. Sound floor is the air conditioning going full blast just to keep this house at 74 degrees.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because it's like 102 degrees outside in Nashville. Now, the dogs started freaking out because our in-house producer decided to sneak down the stairs all creepy-like, which set him off.
Yo, G. Higgs. She's out here talking. Anyway, man.
As she shushes me around the corner.
Hope everybody's doing good out there, man. Stay hydrated. Try to stay out of the heat if you can. You know what I mean? What up, though?
Like the little T-Rex arms of your sneak
she's
style.
T-Rexing around the stew over here. But yeah, we back with these hot facts. Today is post-Prohibition, the aftermath of the terrible decision that was made constitutionally by our country, which tends to keep happening every few years. But anyway.
Once in a while.
Yeah, we're here, man. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Besides the heat
good.
and all the wild shit?
I'm
Everybody
good.
good? Yeah.
A little. It's other than the heat. Yeah. I mean, I've had some deaths in the family in the last couple of days.
Oh, shit.
2 of them.
Damn, man. Sorry to
Wait,
hear
what's
that.
the other one?
But well, the other one was so there was my mom's best friend growing up.
That sucks.
No, it wasn't. It was her mother.
Oh,
But it's my mom's best friend growing up. We were with her children growing up as well, and were raised together and everything.
Surrogate grandmother.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that happened, and one of my best friend Carl's mother passed as well.
Oh.
Just unexpectedly. So
That's real.
yeah,
My condolences. That always sucks.
R.I.P., man. So it's always bad to have a loss, but, there's more life to be lived.
Yep.
For
but
us on this side.
other than that, everything is electronic expressingly, all right.
There you go. Low-key shout out, Harry. Bang, bang.
I mean, if it were up to me, I wish I could jump into an Otter Creek anytime I could.
They're cute, aren't
Because
they?
it's so damn hot.
Hey,
And it's
yeah,
so hot.
right.
My goodness. All these just low-key bars y'all
jabs.
dropping out here. Little
Little local jab.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm saving up to drive to Montana.
Woo!
So,
Because he's
if
afraid to fly, I guess. I
if
don't
any-
even know what he's doing out here.
If any listeners have any places I need to visit from
Ooh.
Tennessee all the way to Montana
Yeah.
in a car, please email us. Because me and my girlfriend, we're taking road trips, but this is the first big road trip.
The
like
world's
actual
biggest
kicking
rubber
it.
band ball should be along your route.
World's biggest rubber band ball.
Yeah,
Okay, boom. Mount Rushmore, she's never seen Mount Rushmore. Probably going to do that.
Oh, if you go near there's a little town that they renamed officially Metropolis. The whole town is about Superman. They have a Superman museum. They have a comic book store solely devoted to Superman comics and spin-offs of Superman comics.
My first few comics were Superman comics.
It
so I might
is
have to stop through
awesome.
there.
Their little bitty town square is a giant statue of Superman doing the Superman.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's
that's
pretty
fucking
cool.
dope.
It's like the
But,
first place Grace and I stopped off at our little national parks tour that we did.
Oh, word. Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool. As a child, I was a big Superman fan. And then, of course, Batman. But then I found out about Spawn.
Oh,
Spawn
man.
was
And
a
I was
good
like,
one.
oh, well, yeah, the black
That's a good
dude.
one.
And then Blade came out, and I was like, oh shit, that's a fucking
The
Then
cooler
Blade.
black dude.
Yeah, the cooler.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther. So my life was just bounced off of like black superheroes after I was a Superman and Batman fan.
So Marvel.
But yeah, I'm Marvel. I'm pretty hard Marvel, but
Yeah, there's a black superhero or two in DC. One of them's literally got that in his name.
well, I did
The
just,
old school one.
I did just see New Mutants. Oh, that's still Marvel. Never mind.
Yeah.
I will say Marvel's just kind of, as far as like,
Film franchise.
the film franchise.
Cinematically,
the
yes.
fuck out of
Cinematically has
DC.
blown it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comic books, I prefer DC.
When I was a kid, I liked DC better.
Me too.
I did. I was a Batman guy.
I like the darker DC Batman comics. Killing Joke was one of my favorite.
Dude, that
things
animated
ever.
film?
Yeah.
Fucking
One of my favorite things ever on the planet.
So good.
But yeah, anyway, if you're a fan of comic books, email us your favorite, or email me some shit to do between Tennessee and fucking Montana.
I already told you. Yeah, they don't need to do that.
Shh. And if you want to contact us, you can hit me up on Instagram at friendspiritfacts.fiction. Also Gmail, friendspiritfacts.fiction@gmail.com. Just hit us up. Be in contact. Be in cahoots, because we're going to cover a lot
His
more
cell
shit.
phone number is 334.
Let's go stop all that shit. So,
Call me now
What
for
we're
your
gonna
free
do-
reading.
yeah, we hope y'all go out there and we're about to sign these hot facts. This is the third episode of Prohibition, but the next to last on like mobsters and gangsters. That's just a little hint. But anyway,
What?
So before I jump in, though, I do want to give, instead of a song of the day of the week, it's a band of the day of the week.
Oh.
They only got 2 studio albums and a live album out right now. A couple of singles, just, because it's the days of singles. But they're called Viagra Boys.
shit
Okay.
slaps, bro.
Our good
Shit
friend from college who lives up here, and I never get to fucking see unless we're driving down to Birmingham for a friend's birthday party.
Which happened like 72 hours ago.
Brant Hall, big shout out to you, buddy. Thank you for showing me a band that I actually really like a lot.
It's dope as
For
fuck,
the
man.
first time in
Yeah.
a minute, I legitimately thought I was getting jaded to music that's not like hip hop or jazz or this fun hybrid that's been happening for a while. Like a rock and roll band or a punk band, God forbid, that's like anywhere close to new
Yeah.
that I don't personally know. I'm just kind of like, fucking whatever. He showed it to me. Fucking whoa, these guys are weird.
They're
It's
dope,
like Man Man meets Foxy Shazam. There's like some old school like Eddie Vedder when he had a bunch of piss and vinegar, as an
Yeah.
old person would say.
Back like on 10.
Like Do the Evolution kind of style
Oh,
vocals.
yeah.
You
Okay,
know?
I got you.
That kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro.
But
Think
then
of- my favorite
live,
track is the Not Nice joint.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Not Nice joint.
Yeah.
I'm not nice. I'm not nice.
but he's just
That
so
shit is wild.
effortlessly cool and live. Like they've got all
This is
these
dope.
weird synth sounds and like real like hacky guitar parts and just a crazy driving rhythm section that's building this organized chaos. And then oh shit, what's that? A full horn section out of nowhere that you've never heard on their studio albums. They're fucking cool.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's
I gotta
control,
check that out.
It's a controlled chaos
Yeah.
in a beautiful way.
I don't have a
Viagra
song
Boys.
just because I haven't picked a favorite yet because I like all of them
Nice.
a lot so far. Yeah. Listening to that a lot recently.
Yeah. Viagra Boys, check them motherfuckers out. You know what I mean? Wherever you check out your music. Also, never forget to give us that 5-star, that thumbs up. Tell your mama, auntie, and your uncles and cousins and them.
Yep.
But yeah, before we sign these hot facts,
Go ahead and
get
slip into your
comfortable,
little ice
you know what I'm
bath,
saying?
you know?
You know what I mean? And Epsom salts, whatever you're doing, mowing the lawn, driving a long way.
Take that head wrap out of the
commuting,
freezer and
you know,
wrap it around
cleaning
your
your
skull.
desktop, countertops in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Find a dry ice store and jump in.
What the fuck is you? What are you talking about?
I'm hot, okay, Justin?
I mean, you know.
Yeah, don't jump in dry eyes. We're not
Yeah,
condoning
don't do
that.
that. Remember, love life. Anyway, so yeah,
Put some liquid CO2 in your HVAC system.
Yeah. It's going to look like a cool movie until you die.
so what you'll do is walk in a walk-in freezer and lock that bitch. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go. There you go.
And embrace the cold.
And listen up.
Or just go to Alaska.
and get naked.
Dude, I think it's hot there right now.
That's hot every fucking where.
No.
It's probably not.
No.
It's probably not.
No. Hot there is like 60 degrees.
I know that the Dakotas
so good.
and Minnesota got hit with the 90s this last week.
Yeah.
I am. I'm going
crazy.
to Montana for their like 5 weeks of summer they have up there.
Actually, all 32 people in North Dakota died of heat stroke immediately that day.
I am. I need to make a pin that's like changing diversity and put it on my shirt when I'm in Montana. So I'm like the 5th black person in the state probably when I go up there. Anyway, if you're black and from Montana, hit me up. Yeah. I'm gonna be up there in July. So
all right. So this episode's gonna be stupidly long if I don't get at it.
Let's go.
So when the mayor of Berlin visited New York City in the fall of 1929, one of the questions he had for his host, Mayor James J. Walker, was when Prohibition was going to go into effect. Now, the problem here, obviously, is that it's already been the quote-unquote law for the entirety of the U.S. for 9 fucking years. But a guy from another country is like, so when is this going to happen? I think that little anecdote speaks to the hypocrisy of this failed attempt at telling Americans what to do more than most others that I had read. And, of course, just a year earlier, Hoover thought of it as a, quote, a great social and economic experiment, noble in motive and far-reaching in purpose. Fucking idiot.
that's America in general.
Right?
Anyway.
See, he and many of the other dries, as they call themselves, thought this would reduce crime, corruption, solve social problems, reduce the tax burden created by prisons and poorhouses, and improve health and hygiene in America. They expected sales of clothing and household goods to skyrocket. Real estate developers and landlords expected rents to rise as saloons closed and neighborhoods, quote, improved. Chewing gum, grape juice, and soft drink companies were all seething with excitement over their inevitable boom in sales.
The anti-drug.
Yeah, theater producers expected new crowds as Americans looked for new ways to entertain themselves without alcohol. Now, obviously, that's all utter horseshit.
Right.
But I'll get to hard numbers proving that in just a sec. Fun aside, baseball. Now, this is mostly due to the radio being able to broadcast games in real time during this era. Did become America's pastime
Yeah. Oh,
during
yeah, bro.
Prohibition.
That was the only entertainment, bro. Ain't no TV.
Right.
These motherfuckers have got radios everywhere.
It's just a weird timing thing. And so, like, a lot of baseball during the beginning of Prohibition was like, we're the solution to your not drinking issues.
Come and hang out every 4 days. And fucking
Sit at
watch
the
a game.
soda parlor with your mate and listen to us talk about this really boring fucking sport.
That reminds me of the Cleveland episode.
Especially on
Go
radio.
back and watch the Cleveland episode, or listen to the Cleveland episode.
Yeah.
Great shit.
Now, crazy thing for us, though, in retrospect at least, is that at first, consumption of alcohol did fall quite a bit. At first. Like, literally just the first 6 months. Then it quickly rose to levels beyond what they saw that they thought was so bad to pass an amendment into the Constitution.
Yeah.
It was so bad, they were like, we need to change the Constitution. And then pretty quickly after, it got worse. Yeah.
It was worse.
And I know we all know this, but it's just fun. Also, we all know about organized crime, and Justin covered some pretty great stories last week about just that. But with that comes a massive influx into our prison systems, a huge loss in tax revenues on the state and federal level, and a fuck ton of people lost their jobs, especially associated with alcohol, of course. Creators, bottlers, shipping companies, servers, bartenders, liquor store owners, grocers. It is absolutely insane to think that we ever thought this was a good idea. Look at this massive aspect of our revenue system and our job-created system.
Well, you got these crazy white ladies just running around breaking down bars and fucking hitting shit with hammers and praying outside. And it's like, oh, God, you know? Like, it's infamously known that if white women want some shit to happen, it's going to happen.
Of course.
Gentrification.
Especially if she's going
to... They went to... I have family in Queens. I was in Queens when Queens was Queens. And now, white people moved in, and them bitches was like, we want some coffee shops.
Yeah.
And
course.
go look at Queens today.
Of course.
It is not what it was back.
No, it's not scary anymore.
You know. Anyway,
To a white
I'm
person.
gonna get off my soapbox. Anyway,
In New York, almost 75% of the state's revenue is derived from liquor taxes. All of that went down the drain. At the national level, Prohibition cost the federal government a total of $11 billion in lost tax revenue, while costing over $300 million to enforce. This is 1920 to 1930s dollars,
yeah,
by the way.
that's like $1 billion, bro.
And also, as Justin mentioned last week, is this whole cat and mouse nature of this time period because of the Volstead Act, or the federal law making booze illegal. Well, kind of. Had lots of holes in it. So people, politicians, drugstore owners, pharmacists, clergymen, rabbis, cops, et cetera, all found a way to make an extra buck and obviously get their hands on that sweet, sweet whiskey.
Exactly. It never stopped. It had a quick pause.
Right. The law was unclear when it came to Americans making wine at home. With a wink and a nod, the American grape industry began selling kits of juice concentrate, with warnings not to leave them sitting too long, or else they could ferment and turn into wine.
Oh, damn, that would suck.
So
Oh, that would
scary.
be so bad.
So scary.
Boo.
Boo.
I guess I'll throw
Damn.
it away now.
My grape juice turned into wine. Damn. No
Home
house party
stills were technically illegal, but Americans found they could purchase them at many hardware stores, while instructions for distilling could be found in public libraries and pamphlets issued by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
That's right.
The law that was meant to stop Americans from drinking was instead turning many of them into experts on how to make it.
Yeah. I mean, there's like
The boom
stories
of-
of motherfuckers that were not even drinkers that became excellent booze makers.
Yeah, of course.
Because of this era.
Yeah. Now, that kind of leads me back to the conspiracy episode that we did and we mentioned last week, is the Fed started poisoning us to try and get us to quit drinking. We covered that in detail, but about 1,000 people died a year because of that. I think from 1924 on or something like
That was
that.
back in like season 1, right?
Yeah, when we covered that. So, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was really early into the 20s. Yeah. According to its proponents, all the proposed benefits of prohibition depended on, or were a function of, reducing the quantity of alcohol consumed. At first glance, the evidence seemed to suggest that the quantity consumed did indeed decrease. That would be no surprise to an economist. Making a product more difficult to supply will increase its price, and the quantity consumed will be less than it would have been otherwise. Also, it's fucking covered up because it's black market, right?
Exactly.
Evidence of decreased consumption is provided by two important American economists, Irving Fisher and Clark Warburton.
Warburton,
It
huh?
should be noted that annual per capita consumption and the percentage of annual per capita income spent on alcohol had been steadily falling before Prohibition, and that annual spending on alcohol during Prohibition was greater than if it had been before Prohibition.
Of course.
Now, for starters, alcohol purchase may have fallen 20% between the pre-war years of 1911 and 1914, and it did the exact same thing in 1927 to 1930 because it's war-related, not legally related.
Exactly.
So Prohibition did very little there. Second, consumption rose steadily after an initial drop. Annual per capita consumption had been declining since 1910, reached an all-time low during the Depression of 1921, and then began to increase in 1922. Consumption would probably have surpassed pre-Prohibition levels even if Prohibition had not been repealed in 1933.
Well, it was the cool thing to do, too.
Well, making it illegal made it cool.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
It made everything cool. It made what we have today as a bar. You
Right.
walk into a bar,
Yeah.
that's what Prohibition looked
Right.
like
Yep.
today.
Well, actually, I didn't actually
It's
write
crazy.
this down because I figured we would just talk about it organically.
Yeah.
Perfect time to do so. Number one, the classic cocktail movement. That's obviously the result of that.
Old fashioned? Yeah.
Number two, and most
Corpse
importantly,
Reviver? Yeah.
most importantly of all, is the reason why there are co-ed bars, if you want to say, that men and women will bend an elbow amongst each other, even if they don't know each other, is because of Prohibition. That was
Women
the
were
time
not allowed
period.
to drink in bars.
Exactly.
Then Prohibition happened. All laws are out of the window, obviously, right? It's illegal.
So you're allowed to do anything.
So fuck it.
You're allowed to drink as much as you
want. We
want.
got black bands playing on the stage in front of white and black people and
Scantily
white and black
clad.
women and men.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, chilling. And, at that time, it was kind of risque to just talk to a woman you did not know or introduced to you.
But the
And
fact
this
of the
was
matter is,
this was the era of pickup lines.
if you're drinking if you're drinking in public at all, that's already risque, right?
Exactly.
So it's
So why
foot
not
in
go
the
all the way?
door syndrome of
go all the way.
and
Fuck
for
it.
a penny and for a pound, you know? It's just nuts.
Yeah, give an inch, give a yard. Fuck it.
Right. Now, consumption would probably have. No, I already covered that one. Let's see. That pattern of consumption is to be expected after an entire industry is banned. New entrepreneurs in the underground economy improve techniques and expand output, while consumers begin to realize the folly of the ban. Third, the resources devoted to enforcement of prohibition increased along with consumption. Heightened enforcement did not curtail consumption. The annual budget for the Bureau of Prohibition went from $4.4 million to $13.4 million during the 1920s. So within a decade, it more than quadrupled, or almost quadrupled.
Such a great time to figure out how to make a damn liquor. Such a good time. Just establish that shit under the table.
While the Coast Guard spending on prohibition averaged over $13 million per year, like I said earlier, I just wanted to point out that it's the Coast Guard that had to deal with this bullshit primarily.
Yeah, because they were putting on ships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because Canada was still cool with it, which I covered last week, and also from the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, JFK's dad had shit shipped from the UK.
Right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If y'all listening. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Anyway.
Quit killing all the Kennedys.
The fourth qualification of all this
don't fuck with the
within
Kennedys.
this realm being bullshit may actually be the most important. A decrease in the quantity of alcohol consumed did not make prohibition a success. Even if we agree that society would be better off if less alcohol were consumed, it does not follow that lessening consumption through prohibition made society better off. We must consider the overall social consequences, not just reduced alcohol consumption. Prohibition had pervasive and perverse effects on every aspect of alcohol production, distribution, and consumption. Changing the rules from those of the free market to those of prohibition broke the link that prohibitionists had assumed between consumption and social evil. They thought that they would never break that rule, right? But we immediately broke that rule in droves.
They fucked up with not regulating it and prohibiting it.
Exactly.
That's where they fucked up.
Yes.
And it took them a decade and some change to figure out that they fucked up majorly.
Now, the most notable of those consequences had been labeled the Iron Law of Prohibition by Richard Cowan. That law states that the more intense the law enforcement, the more potent the prohibited substance becomes. When drugs or alcohol or alcoholic beverages are prohibited, they will become more potent, will have greater variability and potency, will be adulterated with unknown or dangerous substances, and will not be produced and consumed under normal market constraints. The Iron Law undermines the prohibitionist case and reduces or outweighs the benefits ascribed to a decrease in consumption. We're seeing the exact same fucking thing right now with fentanyl being put in blow and heroin and, like repressed pills, especially barbiturates and stuff like that. People are dying left and right.
Regulations on all drugs should definitely be a thing in the world.
I've been saying that for
let alone this
fucking
country.
over a decade.
Because it's more dangerous if the more danger comes from somebody that actually goes rehab, they stop the shit and they relapse and they go back to thinking they can do the same shit that they did.
Yeah.
There should be clinics, there should be centers for motherfuckers that think they want to get back on the fucking wagon or get back off the wagon. And questions need to be asked. Because motherfuckers are not going to ask you questions if you just ask them for drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when the last time you did this? How much did you do before? So, okay, we're going to half that or split that to 0.2. You know what I mean? That type of shit. That's what would save lives and save a bunch of trauma in this country.
1,000%.
If we had regulations on all these fucking drugs.
Look at
in this
Portugal.
country.
Everybody go look at the nation of Portugal.
Yeah. And I mean, Portland's trying to.
They're trying.
Oregon's trying to,
Yeah.
but Portland is a mad place, bro. Anyway,
Well, they've got their own like social issues right
bunch
now.
of wild shit. But anyway, that was my tangent.
No, it's a good one. The one I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
You know, like there's fucking apparently fentanyl on dollar bills right now, and people are fucking going to the hospital because they touched the wrong fucking dollar bill. You know,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's insane. Now,
Be careful out
regulate that shit. Fentanyl will probably fall out of the market. You know, but anyways,
there. You know, there's a bunch of other things in line that need to be cut down before we say things like that. But
Sure.
anyway,
Now, statistics indicate that for a long time, Americans spent a falling share of income on alcoholic beverages. They also purchased higher quality brands and weaker types of alcoholic beverages. Now, before Prohibition, Americans spent roughly equal amounts on beer and spirits. However, during virtually all production and therefore consumption was of distilled spirits and fortified wines. Beer became relatively more expensive because of its bulk, and it might have disappeared altogether except for homemade beer and what they called near beer back then, which could be converted into real beer.
so
So it's-
bullshit.
Yeah, but it's like a really lightly fermented,
Like the mother.
malt beverage or whatever.
The muck from brewing something.
Yeah, but you also let that shit sit for a little while. It gets a lot higher concentrated.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta let it ferment. And
Right.
shit.
Now,
gotta
Fisher, I
put my
mentioned from
past out
earlier, he used retail alcohol prices to demonstrate that Prohibition was working by raising the price and decreasing the quantity produced. However, his price quotations also revealed that the iron law of Prohibition was at work. The price of beer increased by more than 700%.
Jesus.
And that of brandies increased by 433%. But spirit prices increased by only 270%, which led to an absolute increase in the consumption of spirits over pre-prohibition levels. So what they're trying to say is that we're all drinking about the same amount, but we all just started drinking the hard shit because it was more readily available and
course.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So instead of having people that have a slight drinking problem or
Like, hey,
drink
I'm
a
having a
light
few
beer before they
beers.
go to beer or before they go to work or during their lunch break or something are full-blown motherfucking alcoholics at this point, you know?
They're drinking fucking 150, 180 proof whiskeys.
Yeah.
right when they wake up.
I mean, even today, it's cheaper to get a fucking bottle of whiskey or something as like for the money instead of getting a 6-pack.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is true.
I know.
And it's nasty shit.
Now, also something to think about.
Man, it's gonna be nasty shit. You heard about that?
And Drew, you mentioned this earlier. This all also heightened the attractiveness of alcohol to the young by making it a glamour product associated with excitement and intrigue.
Of course, we can't forget. Like this is like Flapper. This is like
This
Great
is Flapper
Gatsby
times,
time,
dog.
bro.
Yeah.
Like
Let's go do the
it's
Charleston,
dope
baby.
to be drunk,
Yeah.
baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's hit the dance floor. You know, like shit was glamorous as fuck, bro.
And
Anyway,
the high prices and profits during Prohibition enticed sellers to try and market their products to non-drinkers, undoubtedly with some success. Many old stock Americans and recent immigrants were unwilling to be told they could not drink. According to a historian, men were drinking defiantly with a sense of high purpose, a kind of dedicated drinking that you don't see much of today. They're making a point by getting drunk, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a reason to go drink. Nowadays, we don't really have a reason other than wanting one or social aspects or your feet hurt or, you know, maybe you got a problem. But, you know,
Maybe you have
depression.
mental health.
Anyway,
that was the third one I just
mental
said.
health. Yeah. Sorry.
Mental-
Anyway, you know, seek help if you need it.
And of course, you know, the speakeasies and saloons and stuff like that. Like one New Jersey businessman claimed that there were 10 times more places one could get a drink during Prohibition than there had been before.
Of course.
It's not surprising that given their hidden locations and small size, speakeasies outnumbered saloons. Lee, that same historian I mentioned earlier, or quoted from, found that there were twice as many speakeasies in Rochester, New York, as saloons that were closed by Prohibition.
Wow.
And that's just a really good indication. It's kind of like the average of basically every big city in the country.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure. I mean, there were 25,000 in Detroit
Yeah.
in this time, which is crazy.
And again, until Prohibition, prohibitionists had used local ordinances, taxes, licensing laws, and regulations, and local option laws to prevent or discourage the sale of alcohol. say in the center city or near churches or schools, maybe limit them on Sundays or election days, or maybe in neighborhoods that were thought to be too nice to have a bar in it or whatever. Prohibition eliminated all of those political tools and led to the establishment of speakeasies in business districts, middle-class neighborhoods, and other locations that were formerly dry or gave the appearance of being dry.
The country.
Yeah.
Rural areas. Rural areas.
And it also led too many people to drink more, quote unquote, legitimate alcohol, such as patent medicines, which contain high concentrations of alcohol, medicinal alcohol, and sacramental alcohol. The amount of alcoholic liquors sold by physicians and hospitals doubled between 1923 and 1931. The amount of medicinal alcohol, which is a 95% pure alcohol, right? Like rubbing alcohol, sold increased by 400% during that time.
That's crazy.
Okay, so this goes back to the whole, like, to me, the regulations you guys were talking about, because, like, in correlation, not to get too deep on my past, in my life, is weed. Yay!
Yeah, weed's too strong now.
So if you federally and state-wise legalize completely, like you guys were saying before, with there were this more of this and this more, there would be a lot less dealers and a lot more actual shops, kind of a deal. And shit would be more, because if you're out there buying shit from dealers, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So you are introduced to a lot more stuff than you would have been if it was
regulated. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're going off word at that point if you don't know your shit.
Yeah.
If you don't know your shit, you're going off word. Yeah, this is that Acapulco dream right here. This is that motherfucking.
Well, and it could also be
bro.
that.
It could be, but
with sprinkled with some shit on it.
Exactly.
You're not going to get that at.
I've watched motherfuckers fabricate the lemon, fucking flavor of weed.
I've had a dude tell me before that the reason why he had such good volume selling was because he used to sprinkle ground up Loratab on his weed and shake it up before he sold it.
And did he sell that as like an indica or something?
That's definitely it would be a different indica, but he would just sell. That was on mid-grade. That was just really Bobby Brown shit.
I know if would get like lemon zest and crystallize it and put it on the weed, so it has that like lemon, like crystal look to it, and it kind of tastes like lemon
berry
but it's
kush.
It's just fucking headers.
That's adorable.
This is heady shit. It's not even dank. Anyway, but yeah, we're going through the same shit with weed now, and this is eventually all going to be legal. We're going through the same shit, but just with weed right now.
And it's taking longer for some stupid ass reason.
Period.
75 years of the drug on war, or war on drugs.
It is the drug on war.
Yeah, it is, doesn't it?
You mean 75 years of black people serving more time for anything else than anybody else?
Menial bullshit.
Anyway.
I intentionally left that out of my research. I was going to put a paragraph in, and I was like, no, that's going to fucking send us on a 20-minute fucking vitriol here.
Yeah, I could. But now, actually, that's coming up. I got an episode coming up.
Yeah. We want to do that. Now, prohibitionists wanted and expected people to switch their spending from alcohol to dairy products.
Because that's going to be the same.
You mean bushwhackers? Oh, you mean just
straight up and down motherfucking milk, man. Modern appliances.
A bushwhacker is an alcoholic milkshake, by the way, if you know not.
Life insurance, savings, and education. That simply did not happen.
No.
Not only did spending on alcohol increase, so did spending on substitutes for alcohol. Exactly what we're talking about. In addition to patent medicines, consumers switched to narcotics, hashish, tobacco, and marijuana. Those products were potentially more dangerous, of course, and addictive than alcohol. And procuring them often brought users into contact with a more dangerous criminal element. Basically, you're already talking to a crime boss. You're talking to a bootlegger, and they say, oh, by the way, I got some hash, you know? Well, fuck it. Let's see what that's like.
Well, and also, when you get your milk, you don't get a little sign on it, like your grape juice, that says please don't let this go bad and drink it. Because if you do that with your milk, you're going to have a bad time. You do that with your grape
You're
juice,
gonna have a bad
you're
time.
also going to have a bad time. But
there was no expiration date for a long time on that shit. Actually.
Let's drink and get fucked up.
Anyway.
Which kind of gets me a little bit into crime and as an effect of Prohibition. So America had experienced a gradual decline in the rate of serious crimes over a lot of the 19th and the early 20th centuries. That trend was unintentionally immediately reversed by the efforts of the Prohibition movement. The homicide rate in large cities increased from 5.6 per 100,000 population during the first decade of the century to 8.4 during the second.
Damn.
A wave of state alcohol prohibitions and World War I alcohol restrictions were enacted. The homicide rate increased from 10 per 100,000 population during the 1920s to a 78 increase over the pre-Prohibition period.
Yeah, plop, plop, plop. Let me get that weed off you. I mean, that liquor off you.
And just petty crimes, not homicides, increased 24% during 1920 and 1921. And the study increased that during that period, more money was spent on police, 11.4%, and more people were arrested for violating Prohibition laws, 102%. But increased law enforcement efforts did not appear to reduce drinking. Arrests for drunkenness and disorderly conduct increased 41%, and arrests for drunken drivers increased 81%.
Jesus.
Among crimes with victims, thefts and burglaries increased 9%, while homicides and incidents of assault and battery increased 13%.
Better not be no burglaries.
More crimes were committed because of Prohibition destroying legal jobs, right? It creates a black market violence, diverts resources from enforcement of other laws, and greatly increases the prices people have to pay for those prohibited goods. Instead of emptying the prisons as its supporters had hoped it would, Prohibition quickly filled the prisons to capacity. Those convicted of additional crimes with victims, burglaries, robberies, murders, were due to Prohibition and the black market and were incarcerated largely in city and county jails and state prisons. According to, I think it was an old sheriff at the time, I forgot, a guy named Town. The Sing Sing prison deported no less than 60 prisoners to Auburn in May 1922 because of overcrowding. So they literally shipped them down to Alabama because that was like one of the few places that there was room for these people.
Yeah, it's a few places anybody would ever want to go.
Before Prohibition and the Harrison Narcotics Act of 1914, there had been 4,000 federal convicts, fewer than 3,000 of whom were housed in federal prisons. By 1932, the number of federal convicts had increased by 561% to 26,589. And the federal prison population had increased over 366%.
So, present day, build.
Yes.
Kept going.
Yes, and that's the whole reason of me putting this in here. This is the beginning of making money off of prisoners.
The prison complex.
Yes.
Was it?
Industrial prison complex.
Yeah, that shit.
Much of the increase was due to violations of the Volstead Act and other Prohibition laws. The number of people convicted of Prohibition violations increased 1,000% between 1925 and 1930. And fully half of all prisoners received in 1930 had been convicted of such violations. 2/3 of all prisoners received in 1930 had been convicted of alcohol and drug offenses. And that figure rises to 75% of all violators if other commercial prohibitions are included. So basically, 3/4 of the people in the prison, that was those percentage numbers that I just gave you, 1,000% being the scariest one, is because they made alcohol illegal. Therefore, they had access to drugs all of a sudden because they were buying alcohol illegally. And that's why they were in jail. And that's why that the federal government was now wasting their money on this, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. The explosion in the prison population greatly increased spending on prisons and led to severe overcrowding. Total federal expenditures on penal institutions increased more than 1,000% between 1915 and 1932. But despite those expenditures and new prison space, prisons were severely overcrowded. In 1921, the normal capacity of Atlanta Penitentiary and Leavenworth Prison was approximately 1,500 each, but their actual population exceeded 3,700 each.
That was
they didn't build more rooms.
Yeah, that's where Al Capone went, and he didn't get medical attention, and that's where syphilis really hit him hard before he went to Alcatraz. By the way, Atlanta prison. That shit was a massive spot for illegal booze sellers. Ship them to Atlanta or ship them to fucking Alcatraz or Leavenworth.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah,
and federal shit.
Right. And just as you were talking about, crime itself became organized during this period, right? So they created the Bureau of Prohibition. As I mentioned earlier, it gave rise to a dramatic increase in the size and power of other government agencies as well. Between 1920 and 1930, employment at the Customs Service increased 45%, and the service's annual budget increased 123%. Personnel cost of the Coast Guard increased 188% during the 1920s, and its budget increased more than 500% between 1915 and 1932.
So this solidified the Coast Guard.
Well, it solidified all of these federal law enacting government agencies. That's why we still have them to this day. Yeah. Why do we have the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA? That's all the same goddamn thing.
Cock.
But this became, of course he was. But I'm saying
also,
this became,
he liked to cross-dress. But anyway.
This became normal, right? Like they just said, oh shit, we do have access to this money. We can put more money into law enforcement agencies in this country.
That money went
If you're talking about this whole, like, don't take my freedoms away, like if, you talk to somebody you probably don't care to talk to that's a next door neighbor where we are from. Yeah. This is the fucking reason, man. Yeah. And it's just happened to increase over the last 100 years.
But also this time was like 30 years before J. Edgar Hoover assassinated many black leaders of civil rights movement. And because of them realizing they can get this money, that's how he got this money, that's how he got all that shit, is that, organized crime, they seen black people accepting the fact that they're black and like owning that as organized crime. Yeah. So they threw all the money they could at it. So it created a cycle of bullshit. Prohibition literally created the cycle of shit that we're going through right now. Yeah. Going through the reason why January 6th happened is because of Prohibition.
More or less,
when it boils all down,
no, you're right.
All the fuck shit happened because Prohibition happened. You know what I mean? Anyway. That's a whole deeper conversation. And I'm going over the tip of a glacier there. So, anyway.
Now, the repeal of Prohibition dramatically reduced crime, including organized crime and corruption. Jobs were recreated, and new voluntary efforts such as Alcoholics Anonymous, which was begun in 1934, succeeded at helping alcoholics. Those lessons can be applied to the current crisis in drug prohibition and the problems of drug abuse. Second, the lessons of prohibition should be used to curb the urge to prohibit. Neo-prohibition of alcohol and prohibition of tobacco would result in more crime, corruption, and dangerous products, and increased government control over the average citizen's life. Finally, prohibition provides a general lesson that society can no more be successfully engineered in the United States than in the Soviet Union.
Man. You're really trying to spark conversations out here on this one.
I know.
Trying to save time.
I know, right? But never mind. Prohibition was supposed to be an economic and moral bonanza. Prisons and poorhouses were to be emptied, taxes cut, and social problems limited. Productivity was supposed to skyrocket and absenteeism disappear. The economy was to enter a never-ending boom. That utopian outlook was shattered by the stock market crash of 1929. Prohibition did not improve productivity or reduce absenteeism. In contrast, private regulations of employees' drinking improved productivity. reduced absenteeism and reduced industrial accidents where it was tried before, during, and after Prohibition. Prohibition did not achieve its goals. Instead, it added to the problems it was intended to solve and supplanted other ways of addressing problems. The only beneficiaries of Prohibition were bootleggers, crime bosses, and the forces of big government.
Yeah, bro. The gangsters and corruption, that's what it sparked. That's all. That's all it sparked.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Carol Woody concluded that the 18th Amendment contributed substantially to the growth of government and of government costs in this period. In the aftermath, Prohibition, an economist, Ludwig von Mises, wrote, once the principle is admitted that it is the duty of government to protect the individual against his own foolishness, no serious objections can be advanced against further encroachments.
See, that's the shit I'm talking about. Regulate motherfuckers being stupid, not if they can be stupid.
Exactly.
Let them do what you want to do, but in this area, you know what I mean? Like, go do your thing. But like, that's why we got DUIs. That's why we have possessions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's regulations on shit. But
now, just to recap or whatever, Prohibition was not a law that was created in a short period of time. The 18th Amendment was a long time in the making, almost 100 years before it was passed. There was a religious revivalism that ran across the United States that pushed for temperance, of course, or perfectionism. In 1826, in the middle of the revivalism, Reverend Lyman Breacher preached. That's a fucking sentence.
Preacher the preacher.
Also, that motherfucker there. Jesus Christ.
A service over the evils of alcohol. The service was translated into different languages, sent all over the United States, and even went to England and was published in some of their newspapers. In 1917, during World War I, President Woodrow Wilson called for a temporary wartime prohibition to save grain for food. It is during this wartime prohibition that Congress began to work on the 18th Amendment. On January 16th of 1919, the 18th Amendment was ratified in the Constitution. In October of 1929, the stock market crashed, causing the United States to go into the Great Depression until 1941. During the Depression, on the December 5th of 1933, Congress repealed the 18th Amendment by the ratification of the 21st Amendment.
Yeah.
Put that in there, because 100 years to get this thing passed, they repealed it in, 12 years?
Yeah.
Is that right?
It took a decade and some change.
No, 14 years, I'm sorry.
It took a decade and some change.
Yeah.
And in that decade and some change.
That is the fastest passed amendment ever, right? Like, it's just absolutely insane.
It's also insane how that 14-year spread has changed the outlook of not only this country, but of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, the idea of, like we said earlier, black people, white people, any type of people in a bar, and everybody's cool. You know what I mean? Anybody playing music on the stage, everybody's cool. Whatever. This sparked the jazz movement. This sparked American culture.
Yeah.
Literally. But the worst and the greatest of American culture was sparked also in that 14-year span. And those two things have changed the world ever since. Yeah. The only thing we have as America is culture. The good and the bad of it.
Yeah, that's all we are responsible for.
And Prohibition started all of that shit. So,
well, thanks to that, then, you know what I mean? Indifferent is how I'll leave it too.
Indifferent.
Now, we can either have this be a really long episode, because I pulled up a list of really weird laws per state. One law per state. Or I can make this like a little like bonus thing later on. But I mean,
how you feeling? What we looking at? What's the time?
I'm cool
What's
with it being a long fucking episode. Who fucking cares?
I got 30 minutes. So I need to work.
All right, cool. Let's blow through this. It's going to be in alphabetical order. Everybody ready? It's going to start with
we get an extra episode out of it. What's up? Anyway, let's go.
I'm going to do it right now. Fuck it. I'm going to do it right now. All right, so starting in our home state of Alabama, if you're trying to find any beer bottles larger than 16 ounces, you won't have any luck in Alabama.
No.
Any beer bottles larger than 16 ounces are not allowed in the state. Plus, you'll have to choose your county wisely, as there are still many dry counties throughout the state. And provocative or profane labels are strictly prohibited. You cannot buy a beer with a curse word on the label in the state of Alabama.
You know, also, as a child, just real quick, because I grew up in Alabama. Well, we all grew up in Alabama. And in the 90s when I was growing up, and these cats talking about 40s and all that shit. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
What are you talking about?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I've never seen that anywhere. And then when I finally got to Florida, when I was like fucking 18, and I was like, oh shit, like this is 40 ounces of beer, bro. Like fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy, man. Dude, to this day, there's no 40s in Alabama.
No, still not.
To this day,
They've got 32s now.
Yeah, they got 32s. Yeah, they got a double 16s.
In Alaska, it's actually illegal to be drunk in a bar.
What?
According to the state laws, you cannot enter a bar if you are already drunk, and you cannot stay if you become drunk.
In Alaska, where the only thing to do is probably drink?
Yeah. Along with that, it's also illegal to give beer to a moose.
Now that's probably why it's illegal to be drunk in a bar, because the motherfuckers that came in drunk at the bar left and gave it to a moose, and the moose fucked up the bar.
Yeah.
So now they made it illegal. They made it illegal for drunk people to come.
You know what? No drunk motherfuckers. No giving beers to mooses. I'm calling this now. I'm nipping this shit in the
across
bud,
the board. Fucking Tim and Ned came in drunk as shit. Got 8 beers. They drunk 4. And the moose came in after. So,
and here came the moose. Yeah. Surprisingly, Arizona has drive-through liquor stores.
Wow.
Turn up.
Now,
shouts out to Florida, too.
You can't consume that said alcohol in the car, but still. Also, anybody who becomes intoxicated is only allowed to stay on the premises for 30 minutes, which is long enough for someone to pick them up. So if you get drunk in a bar in Arizona, bartender says, fuck you, go home, you're drunk.
You got
and they
30
say,
minutes.
I'm waiting on a ride. 31 minutes, they kick that motherfucker out on the street.
Yeah, that's real.
Crazy.
Fun.
Arkansas.
Cajun, Kansas.
If you are older than 18, but younger than 21, and you are caught with alcohol, you will only get a fine. But you also have to write a themed essay on liquor, wine, or beer.
Oh, wow.
Look at Arkansas being
Look at Arkansas trying
colorful.
to educate people at some point.
Get them to write a paper.
At some point. Jesus Christ. You mean Arkansas?
That's why I said Cajun, Kansas.
Now, apparently
That's
in
silly
California,
as fuck, by the way. Anyway.
in California, you cannot display alcohol within 5 feet of a store entrance or within 5 feet of a cash register if the shop also sells motor fuel. That is, unless
a
it's
gas
presented
station?
in a secured cooler.
Oh, yeah. So you got those bitches everywhere.
And so, again,
Also, if you're
these
looking
are
for
all
liquor,
really,
look for
really
alcohol.
weird laws that we have because they said no drinking, and then said, okay, sorry, you can drink again. And then each state had their
rushed to,
own
like-
time
Yeah.
to do it, right? There's a lot of states that didn't ratify that until, I think, like 20, 35 years. That was 1962 when you could drink in Mississippi again.
I was about to say the 70s, I think, is when everybody was finally like, oh, you can drink in the state.
Yes.
It was in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
So
There's still a lot of dry counties, all this kind of shit, and it's just
I
because
mean,
like these
bro,
people
in
still wanted
in
to hold
Tennessee,
on to.
where they make Jack Daniels, you cannot buy alcohol.
Yeah, I'm actually going to get that out
Okay,
of the
never
tease.
mind. I jumped the gun. Sorry.
No, you good.
Go ahead. Burn through it.
In Colorado, I'm sorry to say it, but your legal rights of riding a horse while intoxicated stop at the state lines of Colorado.
Oh.
Oh, so you can be drunk on a horse in Colorado?
No, you cannot. Interestingly, a horse is considered a vehicle in the state, and subsequently, you can get a DUI if you're driving a horse while drunk.
I've heard that's pretty it's pretty universal, or at least down here.
It's across the board ish.
These
Yeah.
are state laws. I'm pretty sure
okay.
there's plenty of county laws.
Yeah.
County
Okay.
laws are different
Right,
because
right.
I know for sure you can drive a horse in my hometown
Drunk as hell.
drunk as a motherfucker. But you can't drive a bicycle
Yeah.
That's true.
drunk.
Yeah.
Now, in Connecticut, you
Which
may...
is a lot more mechanics. Anyway.
You may have a hard time stocking up on beer in Connecticut. In restaurants, taverns, and cafes, you are only allowed to buy up to 4 liters of beer, and it must be for off-premise consumption.
Wait, what? Hold on. Damn.
So if you're drinking there, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy something to go with you,
And leave.
4 liters of beer. Yeah.
That's cool. Actually, that's dope.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, that's dope. I thought it was a gas station. And I was like, bro, what? Anyway.
In Delaware, alcohol sales are not allowed on big holidays such as Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving. so you better plan accordingly. On top of that, alcohol is not allowed to be served in clubs where there is also dancing.
What? What goes synonymous with dancing?
Well, how do you-
Drinking.
Booze.
Well, how do you know nobody's going to break out in a dance? You know what I'm
It'd be
saying?
the worst
I guess
dance
they
club
shut it
ever.
down. I don't know.
I mean, if somebody just starts like busting a move in that bitch, they're like, "Oh, whoa, whoa,
he's been
hey,
drinking."
Hey, whoa, whoa,
Get him
whoa,
out of here.
hold
Get
on
him
now.
out of here.
Clubbing?
Hold on now, dude. Sit your ass down, bro. You fucking up our money.
In Florida, you can't. In Florida, you can't buy booze during hurricanes.
Well, actually, no. Fuck that. Because I've been in many hurricanes and tornadoes, and you need that shit.
Now, it makes sense if establishments are not open to serve you during a hurricane,
Yeah.
but you can't even drink at home. They say.
No, fuck
Yeah.
that.
Who's going to regulate that?
Fuck
Nobody
every piece
is.
of that.
No
But
one.
that's
Yeah.
the law.
I can understand.
That's the law.
I can understand. Tornado coming, they shut down. They lock the liquor cages. Like, don't buy alcohol. You don't need that right now. But I'm drinking at the crib for sure. For sure.
Depending on where you are in the state of Georgia, public drinking may be allowed. However, it must not be seen.
Okay, sneaky.
We're not sure how much you want to bank on that one, though. Athens, Clark County, Georgia, is evidently more strict, making it illegal for any businesses with messages of service that also serve alcohol. On top of that, the county does not allow for 2-for-1 beer specials.
Ah.
So they kind of have an open container thing.
So you mean just
But
tuck
if
it?
any cop stops you and says, "What is that?" and you say, "Kool-Aid," and then they're like,
But it's not.
That's not. Come on.
Hey, see, quick note. Loosen up that belt a little bit. Boop, on the hip. Cover the shirt over it. And walk gingerly. Anyway.
In Hawaii, they give DUIs to minors who are drinking and driving. However, their parent or guardian will be the one who is required to go to an educational alcohol abuse class.
That's fucked up. So you're getting your ass beat by your parents real hard when they get
that
back.
puts pressure.
Dude,
yeah, that
it's
puts
also
pressure right
illegal to have more than one alcoholic beverage in front of you.
No,
So
so you can-
Boilermakers are not a thing.
So like
a shot in a beer? Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Just
Yeah.
put it behind you.
Sad day.
It says in front of you.
You just gotta bang that shot real quick.
Just gotta swing around real quick.
I doubt they
Swing
sell
it around.
boilers there, honestly.
I thought they sell anything other than one drink at a time because of that.
I know.
Fucking prohibition, bro.
Now, a few states, including Idaho, do not allow liquor licenses to be given out to more than one person for every 1,500 people.
What?
If you're looking to acquire a liquor license, be prepared to wait on a very long waiting list or pay a hefty price if purchasing someone else's license
They
privately.
just want that
This is,
money.
that's potato state, right? Idaho?
Yeah.
Damn, Idaho. Idaho.
Just in 2017, Illinois raised the penalty from a business offense fine to a class 4 felony
Jesus.
to import 45 liters or more of liquor into the state without a license to do so. That means if you bring more than 108 liters of wine or 118 liters of beer into the state without going through the proper hoops, you're looking at a minimum 1 year in jail as a business owner.
Damn, that's crazy.
Or somebody just driving a big fucking trunk full of booze back.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Don't
son.
go to a big wedding
And then try
prepared,
and
I
come back.
guess.
Yeah, I know, right?
What the fuck? Caterers suck
In Indiana, it's illegal for grocery stores and convenience stores to sell cold beer. That is saved for liquor stores only. Additionally, an establishment cannot sell individual drinks without also having a food service available at all times.
Yeah, just throw Hot Pockets out there.
So there's a lot of gas station restaurant combos in
Probably,
Indiana.
yeah. I have to assume so.
Yeah.
Heard.
Yeah.
Actually,
For
yeah,
sure.
there are.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, weird. I didn't even think about that.
Hey!
Anyways,
Hoosier.
So if you're listening to this and you're a touring musician, listen to this.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Iowa, you're not allowed to leave a running tab at a bar. You have to pay up front for every drink you order.
I mean, I don't hate that.
Plus, if you're a
I was about to
minister,
say for a bartender myself.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
man, yay.
if you're a minister,
run that.
Iowa requires you to get a permit before taking any alcohol across state lines. If that's not picky enough, all boxes, that are utilized for picking beer hops must be precisely 36 inches long.
I wonder why.
I don't know. In Kansas,
That's a weird one.
Prohibition ended in 1933, right? Kansas might have missed the memo. While the amendment was repealed in 1933, Kansas continued a statewide ban on alcohol until 1948.
Jesus. I wasn't looking at Kansas. I bet there's some wild shit happening in those fucking like 15 years,
Right.
bro. Jesus
Additionally,
Christ.
residents and visitors of Kansas could not buy a drink on premise at a bar or restaurant until 1987.
Damn.
Bro,
That was 35 years ago, baby.
87,
that's
dog.
why Kansas is so fucking weird. Okay.
In Kentucky, it is illegal to sell alcohol on Election Day, unless it's a special election.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, God. What does that mean?
And for a state largely known for its bourbon, unfortunately, you are not permitted to drink at the distillery if it's located a dry county. But you can still get your fair share by venturing along the Bourbon Trail.
Yeah. Turn that Bourbon Trail lit.
In Louisiana, drive-thrus are allowed to serve alcohol in Louisiana, and the state considers them to be closed containers. But that only applies as long as the straw has not been put through the lid of the drink. They got little stickers on there. So you drive through, get a Hurricane, they put a little sticker on top of the fucking thing. You could easily stab your straw through that bitch.
Yeah.
Easy.
But
Done it many
if the
times.
straw's in there and you bounce out the bar, it's like, boop, boop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now you got to take that straw out. Just take the straw out. That's all you got to do is, boop.
Main establishments are not allowed to sell alcohol on Sundays before 9 a.m. unless it's St. Patrick's Day
You motherfuckers.
on a Sunday. Then
You sons
alcohol
of
is allowed
bitches.
to be sold as early as 6 a.m.
Like it should.
In Maryland, there is a limit to how much alcohol can be brought back into the state of Maryland. However, active military returning home to Maryland can bring limitless amounts of alcohol back with them.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah.
Hold on.
Just come back from war,
So they
get
got-
fucking loaded.
So they got
guy.
motherfuckers at the state lines, like, regulating this shit?
No.
They just-
Again, it's just one of those
It's
things.
old laws that
Yeah.
are just there.
Yeah.
That motherfuckers probably don't even give a shit about as
Probably not.
state legislatures.
In Massachusetts, sadly, for whatever reason, Massachusetts holds a grudge against happy hour. Public drinking games are also not allowed. And to just rub it in, Massachusetts also has a restriction on how many liquor licenses can be given to restaurants and bars. No happy hour, no public drinking games, and they only hand out so many licenses.
So if you get a bar in Massachusetts, hold that bitch down, son.
More like Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Now, bars and restaurants in Michigan are not allowed to advertise that they sell pints of beer.
What do you call them, cups?
They're not allowed to advertise it unless they're serving all 16 ounces. If drinkers are suspicious, then they're being shorted. They can file a complaint.
Wow. Bro.
If you sell a beer, it has to be 16 ounces.
Oh my God.
And they're not allowed to advertise otherwise.
Okay,
This looks a little short here. Now, listen.
Look.
I got my lorry on speed dial.
Look, so this is,
I'm going to need another ounce of
I'm
beer
sorry
in
to
this
say,
motherfucker.
but all you Karens out here, you originated in Michigan.
Maybe so.
Because if you can file a fucking complaint on how much beer is in your cup, you're a Karen.
Right.
Hey,
Nailed it.
word to wise. You need a little head on your beer.
Nailed it.
You need a little foam on your
Now,
beer. So.
Minnesota seems to be
Anyway.
a little more laid back. There are no alcohol sales allowed on Sundays, and if you're in the market for spirits with a higher percentage of alcohol, you'll have to try your luck across the border.
That's CX.
Now,
Anyway.
yeah, our kids can't read in Mississippi.
In my crooked eye, crooked eye.
In my crooked,
Humpback,
crooked eye,
humpback
crooked,
eye.
crooked eye, humpback eye. It's to teach us to try and spell. It is
I'm
said
from
to have...
Alabama. I'm not from Mississippi. Don't give me that.
Technically
Don't
born in
put
Mississippi.
that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Sorry, it's not me then. Mississippi is said to have no open container laws for drivers. Now,
Right
it
up.
only applies if the driver stays under the .08 national legal limit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No,
So,
you literally can be
beer?
pulled over with a beer in your hand,
Yeah.
and then they'll just breathalyze you. And if you're under .08, they'll probably let you go. Now, if you're being a jackass or
see,
swearing all
probably.
over,
Yeah, come on with me, boy.
they'll still take you.
See, probably for me, that's a
Probably.
no immediately. But
Well,
anyway.
duh.
Yeah, let's
In
get up out of
Missouri-
Mississippi. Yeah, let's get up out of there.
No one is permitted to put drugs into alcoholic drinks.
That's
tell you
legal in all
what.
the other states.
I know,
I'll
right?
tell you what. I think that's illegal
But
everywhere.
they explicitly had to say that, apparently.
because Missouri's been on some dumb shit.
But oddly enough, in Natchez, Missouri, it is unlawful to provide beer or other intoxicants to elephants.
Something happened in Natchez, bro. We
And
need
in
to go check
St.
on Natchez,
Louis, Missouri, it is illegal to sit on the curb of any street and drink beer from a bucket.
Oh my God.
A bucket, not a can, not a brown paper bag, a bucket.
Well, I can't do that.
Good to know.
Right? Who are these people? Seriously, hold on,
Son of a
real quick.
bitch.
They
These are
at one
famous
point
people.
said no drugs and booze anymore, guys, and then they turned around and said, "Okay, seriously, stop giving it
drinking.
to elephants." And then they said,
then-
"Really, buckets on the street, guys? Come on."
Come on.
So what I gather is they had buckets full of beer with shit in it to drug elephants.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gathering.
I guess so.
Hopefully. That's the most whimsical.
Yeah,
It can get
that's what
really
I'm thinking
dark.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
It can
it's-
get dark.
gets
with
real
that.
dark.
But anyway.
Montana is the third state on the list here that has liquor license restrictions, which are given out based on a lottery system.
Well, that sucks.
If that route seems too tedious, there are ways to privately buy them from another establishment, but they often go for a very high price, and you can get arrested for it.
You can get arrested for being like, hey, let me buy your shit from you, G.
Yeah, you're not using that anymore. Give me that. Yeah.
Pull up on your
Damn it. I didn't see you in that.
That's the actual Wild Wild West, though. People don't realize, like, Montana and shit, that's the actual Wild West. Like, there's still cowboys out there and shit. Still frontier country out there. To this day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's fucking wild.
Dude,
Anyway.
in Nebraska, you can't flirt with or sweet talk a bartender into trying to give you another drink, or maybe even get their fucking phone number or something like that. Liquor Control Commission Rules and Regulations, Chapter 6, Section 019.01F1 makes it illegal to have any physical contact or any PDA with a bartender.
Wow.
All right.
Nebraska, huh?
No 21st birthdays
so
there.
Was the T-Pain song banned there?
I guess so.
Bartender.
Nope.
Looking for me. I'm at the whoop, whoop. And the bar with nobody, motherfucker. Anyway.
Nevada, home to bars that can stay open 24/7, permitted open container laws in Las Vegas, and where it is not a crime to be drunk in public. It is considered to be a health problem rather than a crime. Just the fact that you're allowed to do these makes that really obscure. Because if it becomes against your health or another's health, well, probably going to go to jail.
Yeah. Nevada's a whole wild place.
In New Hampshire, it's illegal to drink and or have picnics in graveyards.
Well, you know,
Alrighty
and
then.
where that was led is, you know, it's so depressing in New Hampshire. All the God kids are sitting there drinking in the graveyard. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's all right. Anyway.
In New Jersey, if you get a DUI, you're no longer allowed to have a personalized license plate for your car.
Oh my God.
They took away my ass man tag.
Well, you know what, Jim? You fucked up.
Yeah.
They didn't take your truck nuts, though, did they?
I left my testicles on the back of the truck, but they took my damn tag that says ball low.
Yeah. In New Mexico, a BWI or like boating while intoxicated is like a well-known offense throughout the
Forgot
country.
about that one.
But in New Mexico, this also refers to any water operating vessel, but water skis, wakeboards, kneeboards, or any similar device.
Oh, so you can just be trashed on a, you know,
You can just be behind the boat
Yeah.
with a rope attached to you
and be trashed.
and trashed. They will take you to jail.
That's wild, son. Damn.
Oh, I'd have gone to jail a lot then.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Now, New York, it's finicky in general, which I guess makes sense because
It's
they
New York.
fucking Jesus in Prohibition era.
Right.
Firstly,
All of that
can you
sense.
only purchase alcohol from specific stores, which does not include general stores? Secondly, alcohol cannot be sold before noon or after 9 p.m. And thirdly, if you're thinking of opening a liquor store, make sure you live close since they must be owned by a single person who has to live within a specific distance from their
yeah,
store.
a lot of liquor store owners in like bodega owners in New York.
They live above. Yeah. They literally sleep upstairs.
It's like apartments
Yeah.
on top of their
Yep,
store.
absolutely.
That's it. That's kind of where that was coined at with the whole like strip mall under apartment buildings in New York, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to start doing that in New York City. So, yeah.
It was the first like fucking huge city in this country. So that's where everything was kind of tested out
Yeah.
first.
And it's still
In North Carolina, happy hour is also not allowed within the state, as well as any special alcohol sales or gimmicks. Additionally, the governor, if they so please, can decide to stop all selling, transporting, and manufacturing of alcohol at any point in time. If the governor decides, no more booze.
Yep. Somebody shit my cornflakes. No more booze for
No
y'all.
more booze.
Tell
Yeah.
you what.
Now, in North Dakota, we're not sure why or how this law came to be, but in North Dakota, it's illegal to serve beer and pretzels at
Bullshit.
the same time.
Wait, why would you want somebody to eat while they drinking?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Especially something salty that's going to make them drink
North
more.
Dakota. So
They've also forbidden coupons to be used when purchasing alcohol.
You can't be a smart alcoholic.
I guess not.
Yeah, weird.
In Ohio, it is illegal to give alcohol to a fish.
Well, yeah, that should be kind of a general rule of thumb there, dum-dums.
they had a river that was on fire for years. So I mean,
Yeah, they're just trying to put it out with
And
alcohol.
also, no alcohol advertisement shall represent, portray, or make any reference to Santa Claus.
Oh, no boozy claws.
ho ho
I'm
ho
out.
ho ho ho.
I'm out.
There you go.
Just that's why he's all with the whole Coca-Cola thing.
In Oklahoma, you can only purchase alcohol in a licensed liquor store, and those selected stores cannot sell a cold beer with more than 4% alcohol.
Sorry.
You have to settle for room temperature if it's anything over 4.
No, I'm good.
Or when the truck gets there, you can get there sooner.
Nice. In Oregon, any location with a liquor license must also serve at least 5 different food items.
Okay.
Damn.
Right?
5 different Hot Pockets. Heard?
And Pennsylvania also has limits on liquor licenses and will make you run around to various different stores if you want to purchase wine, spirits, and beer. But in Newton, Pennsylvania, allegedly a man cannot buy alcohol without the written consent of his wife.
Oh, wow. That's some old school shit.
Hey man, shouts out to my homies going through it in Newton. You know what I mean? Like, stay strong, bro.
Now,
Happy wife, happy life. Come on now.
Exactly.
Rhode
man.
Island was one of the
Be
2
you.
states that did not ratify the 18th Amendment. But as ahead of the times as they were back then, the state, for some reason, does not allow any advertising for happy hour. Happy hour is allowed to occur, but you can't talk about it.
Bro, shouts out to Rhode Island, bro.
First rule about happy hour.
Don't talk about happy hour. South Carolina does not allow alcohol to be sold on Election Day. Additionally, the state has a Francis Willard Day. On the 4th Friday of October, all public schools are required to teach their students about Francis Willard, a major player in the passing prohibition laws and educating on the evils of intemperance.
That's a fucking
To this
stupid.
day, bro? Oh my
To
God.
this
That's
day.
so fucking stupid.
Also, it's Kentucky.
South, what?
What was that, Kentucky? Where was it at?
That's South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah.
Might as well
Same
be
thing.
Kentucky. Anyway.
In South Dakota, you can't mix yourself a cocktail. In Deadwood, specifically, it is illegal to mix various alcoholic beverages without a permit to do so, even at home.
That's crazy. There's no way to enforce that.
There's no way to enforce that.
Also, shouts out to Deadwood, the HBO show. That shit slaps. Anyway.
Tennessee is known for Jack Daniels. What's funny, though, is that Jack Daniels Distillery is located within Dry County, making it illegal to drink the whiskey anywhere nearby. Now, this was changed recently, so visitors to the distillery are allowed a very small sip off of the Jack Daniels facility tours. So if you go have a tour, you get a little sipper, and then they let you buy it. And if you decide to crack that bitch open in what county is that?
It's a county over
Lynchburg?
It's Lynchburg.
It's in
isn't it?
Yeah, Lynchburg County.
Which that's problematic anyway, but
Of course it is massively problematic.
Lynchburg County. Let's think about that. Anyway.
Yeah. You
Also,
crack that
it's
bitch
so
open.
fucking stupid that you're making
Straight to jail.
so much liquor that goes through the whole world. But when you go to the source of it, you can't even fucking drink it.
Right.
Yeah.
So fucking stupid. Anyway,
Overcooked fish, undercooked chicken, straight to jail.
Prohibition.
I,
I'm just gonna say prohibition. Anytime I hear something stupid, prohibition.
my father-in-law's brother, so my uncle-in-law, is a judge in Lynchburg.
Prohibition.
Prohibition.
Now in Texas, beer and wine can be sold from 7 a.m. to midnight on work days, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays, only from noon to midnight on Sundays. However, the ABV must be under 17% to be sold on Sundays. They have some really weird time frames in which you're allowed to buy booze.
I think that goes.
Now, a lot of them don't make sense.
Yeah.
I think that goes to the amount of ranchers and cowboys when
I
that
think
state
so.
was made.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's the times of like actually working.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole historic thing I need to dive into deeper, but
Uta.
that's weird
Now,
as fuck.
and-
Also, Texas is weird as shit anyway.
Now, have you guys heard of the Zion Curtain in Utah?
No.
Okay,
is that?
so bartenders in restaurants that have opened after 2012 are required to mix drinks out of sight behind a curtain. They call it the Zion Curtain.
What kind of religious sounding shit is that?
Wait, so they get
Mormons, dog.
What they get? Oh,
So
yeah, it's
fucking
Utah.
what?
It's
Mormons.
Utah, man.
That's
Yeah.
so dumb.
It's a Mormon thing.
Yeah. Well, then don't let the Mormons in the bar.
I could go on a whole tangent about
Now,
Mormons, but
this does not
whatever.
apply to bars or clubs. So if
Because
your-
Mormons aren't going to be in bars or clubs.
If your friend wants a drink, they better come up with you to the bar. One person is not allowed to order double the amount of drinks. It is legal to have a drink in a restaurant, but you must also order food at the same time. Lastly, it is illegal to serve or sell alcohol in an area that the governor deems in an emergency. Yeah, so if he declares this area an emergency state, no booze. But also, you can't watch anybody make a drink, and also, you can only buy one drink for yourself. Like, not even that, like, do you all have IDs for this group of people that you're ordering for? Like, no. You order from me, give me your ID. They have to come up and order from me. Also, don't mind me. I'm going to go behind this curtain to make your fucking drink.
that's highly problematic.
No.
Red alert.
Red alert.
If you,
Danger,
if
Will
you don't
Robinson.
watch somebody mix you a fucking drink, do not drink that
No.
motherfucker.
No.
Straight up letting you know.
That's what I'm fucking
across the
saying.
board, especially for our women listeners out there, female listeners out there. What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, bro.
Just stay out of
And
Utah,
that fits,
ladies.
That fits in Mormon culture anyway.
So before 1986, the legal drinking age in Vermont was 18.
Hey, turn up.
However, that changed when the government threatened to withdraw their federal funding unless the state raised the legal drinking age to 21.
Wow. Also, quick side, drinking age 21, but I feel like you need to have a drinking experience before you go to college. Because if you don't, you're going to make some really terrible decisions. Anyway.
In Virginia, happy hour is legal. The state has very tight rules on what can be said about it publicly. Bars are allowed to say they have a happy hour, but are not allowed to post pricing anywhere outside of the establishment. Businesses are also not allowed to call it anything except happy hour. So no clever puns for them.
That goes to not prohibition status, like poor people don't have money, filing them in, basically.
Yeah.
That's what that goes off of.
In
Anyway.
Washington, it is illegal for businesses with liquor licenses to play music, have dancing, or other forms of entertainment without first getting permission from the proper authorities. It is also a criminal act to destroy a beer bottle or cask.
So you can't christen a ship or a
Or-
boat?
Yeah.
Or
Just
like,
be
can't
moving
christen
fast
the
behind
ship.
a bar and you knock
Oh,
one off
shit.
the counter.
well, I'm going to
Like,
jail, guys. Better call in another bar
Well,
back.
shit. Well, that's 4 to 3 months.
43 bears down.
4
How
to
many-
3 months.
In West
Well,
Virginia, bars are technically illegal.
Whoa.
You have to also serve food. So they're all considered restaurants
Yeah.
with a liquor license.
Wow.
A bar or a saloon, nope.
Yeah.
It's also illegal to bring more than 10 gallons of alcohol
I
into the
mean,
state
what are you
for
moving 10
personal
gallons
use.
for?
I know. That's a lot. Why? You know?
You can purchase it there, you know?
I mean, the only reason to do that would be like going to, say, Cuba or Puerto Rico.
Oh, no, that's just
And get some
prohibition,
shit
man. That's
shipped
just
back.
fucking.
You know what I
they
mean?
just never took that one off the books.
Yeah.
Wisconsin apparently has had some like back and forth when it comes to the legal drinking age. However, if a properly licensed establishment allows a parent or guardian to purchase alcohol for their child in a bar, regardless of their age, that's okay.
Whoa.
Okay, Wisconsin.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, you know, the Midwest
Yeah.
is full of that whole like, oh, you drunk again, Jim? Just go home.
That's
Just
the
drive
thing.
home now.
That's
Just
the thing
drive
in
home.
Louisiana too. Actually,
Just drive home.
Yeah.
Just get
It's
on.
fine. It's fine. Just
You'd
drive
be
home.
all right.
It'll be
In
fine.
Wyoming, if you're not trying to go to jail for up to a year, then you better not let the authorities find you drunk in a mine.
See, now I could see being drunk in a mine as a teenager.
Oh,
But anyway,
I don't
Not
know
only-
what kind of goofy ass noise I just made, but
Not-
Jesus Christ.
something like that.
Not only that, but it is illegal to do business with an intoxicated person. Women cannot drink an alcoholic beverage while standing within 5 feet of a bar,
What?
nor are residents or visitors allowed to ski while drunk.
Yeah, Wyoming ain't enforcing none of that. I know a few people from Wyoming, and they ain't enforcing none of that shit up there.
No.
You can bet that.
No.
So these are all the laws that are buried in the books of your states. Take notes on that. It's fucking hilarious. There's one in my home county that says you can't take a horse around the town square 3 times, or you'll serve a year in jail.
Yeah, in Tuscaloosa, you can't have a ice cream cone in your front pocket.
Nor can you take your alligator for a walk on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And drive barefoot. It's illegal to drive barefoot.
Or
in
I
Alabama.
actually-
horse and buggy unattended.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that is one.
buggy antenna. But yeah, horses shit a lot. So you take it around the square 3 times. It's a lot of shit. Anyways,
Well, this has been a long one.
whatever.
It's not been bad.
It was fun.
It's our fucking first full deep dive on a subject, prohibition.
Yeah.
You know, tell us what you think about it. You know, DM me on Instagram. You know, find us on Instagram.
Oh,
Find
right.
us
Sorry,
on
from earlier.
social.
His cell phone number is 334.
You just keep doing that dumb shit, bro. Stop doing dumb shit. So what I'm saying is, we love y'all, and this has been some really hot facts about prohibition. Let us know what you think. Next week, I'm gonna cover some heard about black mobsters, but I'm gonna get deeper in there a little bit. I got 3 heavy hitters, maybe a 4th one. Is really just a succession of crime that was passed down through generations in New York. But anyway, that's all I can say. Yeah, we got a lot more in store. You know what I mean? A lot of things are coming. Be ready. You know what I'm saying? Always give us that 5-star, give us that thumbs up. We love y'all. Keep being beautiful. Know that you can do anything you want to in this fucking world. I'm Justin Hammonds. I'm saying love, life, because it's worth living, y'all.
I'm Drew Shonut. That was a pen.
And there's that.
Well, I'm Grant Bramlett, and since he keeps cutting me off, Justin's cell phone number is
This
334.
motherfucker, bro. Keep doing this shit. You say 334 enough, they just gonna fucking cipher it down. Some bitch.
They can already do the math. They know where you're from vaguely. They know your area code.
Yeah, anyway, can you do your outro, please?
Yeah. 472.
Oh, that's 3 more.
I have to drive to work like now, so can we end this?
Yeah. Okay, listen. If you ever thought telling people to not drink or do drugs or do anything that they deem that they want to do when within the confines of their own home, whether they're hurting themselves or not, unfortunately, even if they're hurting their own family, that's not up for the government to decide, right? Anyways, if you ever thought that was a good idea, or drives out there, never liked you. If you never decided to, give an alcoholic beverage to a woman standing 5 feet in a bar in Wyoming, or took your alligator for a walk on a Sunday, or put an ice cream cone in your front pocket, I always loved you, Stand strong, all right? Let's fucking show these fuckers that we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, take those gators on walks.
There's more of us than there are of them. Be
Never
on our
forget.
side, not their side. All right.
Can't beat them. Try something else.
Keep doing it. They'll eventually say sorry and change it back. They're about to do that with weed any goddamn day now.
And anyway,
What?
we love y'all, man. Y'all just be safe and, keep thriving. Try to stay alive. Season 5. This has been a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction, and we out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next installment. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all things Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends_facts_fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we'll correct any errors we may have made. Your hosts and researchers are Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut. Our episodes are produced by Grant Bramlett. Additional producership provided by Grace Higgs. Our recording engineer is Grant Bramlett. Our editor, mix, and mastering audio engineer is Jeremy Mulder. Lighting design is provided by Justin Hammonds. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.
Sip, sip.
They do.
Sip, sip.
Man. Do you?
Sip, sip.
Do you?
Sip, sip.
Camera
Yeah.
back. Sip, sip.
Anyway.
What?